Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to go back to the player's handbook. We're going to go to Cleric second level spells, and we're going to look at the excellent Silence 15-foot radius. This spell is an alteration, level 2, 12-foot range, 120 feet. Duration is 2 rounds per level, so if you're 10th level, it's 20 rounds. Area of effect, 30-foot diameter sphere, so 15-foot radius from the center, from where it's cast. Verbal and somatic components, 5-second casting time, saving throw none. The saving throw should actually say special, and I'll get into that when we go into the body here. Upon casting the spell, complete silence prevails in the area of its effect. All sound is stopped, so all conversation is impossible. Spells cannot be cast if they have verbal components, should be amended there, and no noise whatsoever issues forth. The spell can be cast into the air or upon an object. The spell of silence lasts for 2 rounds for each level of experience of the cleric. 2 rounds at first level, which is kind of funny because you can't cast it at first level, 4 rounds at second, 6 rounds at third, etc. The spell can be cast upon a creature, and the effect will then radiate from the creature and move as it moves. If the creature is unwilling, it saves against the spell, and if the save is made, the spell effect locates about 1 foot behind the target creature. That's why it should be saving throw special, because he does get a saving throw if he's an unwilling recipient, and I can't imagine a bad guy in a situation that would be a willing recipient, but it still manifests about a foot behind him. That is still devastating. He still has to realize he's in the silence and then has to realize to move away from it. And it may not be a situation where he can move. So a well-coordinated attack on your big bad evil guy at the end of the dungeon, if it's led with this spell, and he is primarily a spellcaster or is relying upon verbally activated magic items, this spell can be devastating right there. I've lost more than 1 BBEG to this particular spell. And it's fun. I like when the players coordinate something like this against me. This spell is less effective against huge casters like giants that cast spells or dragons especially, because it's only a 15-foot radius. Even if you cast it on the dragon, unless he fails his saving throw, which for a dragon is not going to be common. And by the way, he still gets MR, whether he's the target of the spell or he's just in the area of effect. He still gets magic resistance against the spell. But if the dragon is the target and it manifests behind him, he's going to be moving, and he's huge, so he's easily going to move out of the area of effect just by craning his neck. So it's less effective against really big spellcasters like that, just for those reasons. But it is important to remember that whether the spell is cast on the target or is cast behind the target, magic resistance, at least at my table, still applies. So if I have a drow matron who's going to cast and she's got 60% magic resistance, I will do a magic resistance check whether the spell is cast on her or not. If she is the actual target of the spell and she makes her magic resistance check, the spell will not manifest. So if you think there's somebody that has MR in the area where you're targeting this, it's best to put it in the area behind them, where they'll still get an MR check, but it'll only be for them. The silence will still prevail otherwise. One other misconception I've had with this spell over the years is I've had more than 1 or 2 players think that they could not cast spells into the area of effect. So if they're standing outside the area of effect and the big bad evil guy is suddenly silenced, they thought they couldn't throw the lightning bolt at them. As long as they're standing outside the 15-foot radius, 30-foot diameter sphere, as long as they're standing outside that, so if they're 18 feet away when they cast the lightning bolt, they're fine. The spell goes into the targeted area and does the damage. You just can't hear the guy scream. So any spells that can be cast, if you're beyond the range of the area of effect, absolutely can be cast into it. So magic missiles, lightning bolt, fireball, wall of ice, any stuff like that can absolutely be cast into that area. And that would include things like light or continual light. If I want to cast continual light on the target, as long as I'm outside the area of effect, the spell itself will still manifest inside the area of silence, at least at my table. I realize there could be some people that are saying, well, I don't do it that way. That's fine. Everything in D&D, in my experience, has been at your table. So at my table, I would absolutely allow a continual light, as long as it was cast outside the area of effect, to manifest within the area of effect and potentially blind the guy. So here you have 15-foot radius going on. You could possibly blind him. Be a great coordinated attack if you have 2 characters, one that could cast the silence, the other could cast the continual light. So there are a few good ways to use this spell, but in my experience, it's best if you have a coordinated attack in mind. I have had groups that have played together for a long time that have actually gone around and gone to the trouble of making hand signals so that they would know, first off, that the silence was coming, and second, they did some simple hand signals how to function within the silence 15-foot radius. And this has actually helped them in game because I have hit the party with a silence 15-foot radius a time or two, and they've been able to signal each other despite the silence. And of course, if you have drow have the hand speech, which is nearly as comprehensive as their spoken language, so that takes out a lot of this too, but it still won't help you cast the spells. So silence 15-foot radius, you've got that big bad evil guy. It's a high level magic user. You're finally encountering him in that lair, and you go ahead and you throw it. Don't throw it on him, throw it behind him. He doesn't get a saving throw against it. It lights up the area, and then just attack him either physically, arrows, or magic cast outside the area of effect, and you're good to go. Like I said, I've lost more than one big bad evil guy primarily to this spell. So that's all I've got today. Say today on page 121 about an excellent second level cleric spell. By the way, you have to be third level to cast this spell. I think I said second. So third level, so your minimum time on this is going to be 6 rounds. So minimum is third level, 2 rounds per level. You're going to be 6th level. So that's all I've got to say today on page 121. Please let me know what you thought. Leave some comments below. Also take a look at the Patreon. If there's anything you can do to help out there, I'd really appreciate it. I am still trying to grow the channel. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on page 121.